because there's a dog out here
Yeah.
who's not on a leash, and I don't know, and I'm gonna try to catch him.
And you're going to try to
And
deport that dog. That's what you're going to try to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, that's
well,
true.
no, never the dogs. Dogs are citizens of the world.
Oh, all right. Well,
Dogs,
welcome
dogs and
everyone.
cats.
Welcome everyone to session 15 of Mechwarrior Destiny, Salvaged Destiny, and Mechwarrior Destiny actual play. Today, Anders Lawrence is having some webcam issues, but the good news is we have a beautiful picture image of his character's token, which will not move, will be static because he is a stoic son of a bitch, an absolute stoic son of a bitch. But enough out of me. We're going to go around the table, as we often do. We're going to have everyone introduce themselves, tell us who they're playing, and then we're going to dive into session 15, which is entitled Planting Roots, question mark? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But let's go Anders, Steve, Strom, and Aaron. Take it away, gentlemen.
Yep, I'm Anders. I'm playing as Lawrence, the stoic and very Lyran Mechwarrior trainer for the entire not the entire company. Well, yeah, for the entire company. And yeah, one of the two people to not get injured last round, but also still get heavily shot up. So hey.
Very true.
It's me now.
It's you, Steve. It is.
Yeah. I'm Steve. I'll be playing an incredibly shaken Cyprian who did get shot up and had to eject. He was pressing that button, eject.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah. So he's looking to go and get back to fixing his mech because it's going to need a lot of fixing.
First, we got to fix you, though.
Yeah, priorities.
I mean, he's breathing. If he can hold a wrench, get in there. There's a lot of work to be done.
If you can hold the wrench, you can drive him back.
You can dodge a wrench. You can
Watching
dodge an
both of
easy
his
20
arms are
round.
broken.
It's me next, I think. I was paying not enough attention.
That's all right, because according to your shirt, you're probably going to die of dysentery.
Oh, that is a
There's
kitty.
kitten taking up my attention.
That is a kitty.
I am Strom. I am playing Willow, who is the leader of this little retinue. He's also had to punch out, but he did so in style, as is his wont.
You did go toe to toe with a
you.
king crab. Like, it was basically just
round.
you fighting it for like 3 or 4 rounds. That was intense. I'm surprised you didn't die. If I'm being real, I tried, but I failed. And then last, certainly not least, Aaron, take it away.
Well, yeah. Hey guys, Aaron playing Callum Van Buren, the fast guy in this outfit. Thankfully didn't have to punch out. Thankfully didn't get shot up too badly. But I would have liked to have been able to help maybe a little more than I did in the late stage, but I was pretty busy.
Beautiful.
I'm pretty sure we only won that entire engagement because of your work. So
I don't know. I mean, I think honestly, if I may, I'm going to interject. I'm going to argue here. I'm going to argue that I think Bruce and Sam did some work. They did some good work.
It was equal parts because here's my thoughts. The fighting up at the base, well, it lacked the numbers that we were handling sort of down at the southern end of the map. Everything up there just punched so much harder. So I think it's equal. I don't think like any one thing, like if we both hadn't succeeded, if both groups hadn't succeeded in the long run, that whole thing would have been a wash. So
amen.
I mean, the AC 20 round to the head was definitely a perfect
that was
opening salvo.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad.
That one was. And then
Who was that? Was that Bruce? That was Bruce.
No,
right?
Bruce clipped with the laser because Sam had the thing. He hit the large laser on the
large laser.
On the head, like right in the outset, just boom, whoop.
Yep, and he was just like target down.
Yeah,
that was so good.
That was beautiful. That was cinematically
wonderful. Absolutely delightful. But when we last left off, our intrepid mech warriors, you all had traveled to a system just outside of Kentares, the Exter system, roughly 1 jump to 2 jumps away from, the Cantargo system. 1 jump away from Kentares IV. You had done so at the request of the rebel forces, based on what Katrina's saying, the allied forces, based on what everyone else is saying. But you had gone there to liberate, I suppose we could say, liberate a supply depot that was funneling ammunition, weaponry, just different types of supplies to Kentares, to the occupiers of
Maybe some spare
there.
parts.
Maybe some spare parts here and there that we might be able to use, possibly. Yeah, that's true. And though the fight was brutal, bloody, you took quite a lot of damage, you did walk out all alive, though slightly wounded. We open our first scene with a exterior shot of that base. We see us kind of flying over those rolling hills that led up to the base. On the left-hand side, we see the power station that had been destroyed. We see that there are a number of personnel that look to be maybe trying to repair that, to get it back up and running. And as we go up, we see the base itself with the kind of hexagonal walls around it. We see that there are 2 holes that have been punched into it, but just beyond those walls, we see the Stropo and the Latropo both landed, docking doors, everything is open, the landing doors are open, and we see a number of personnel, mech techs, we see a couple of what looks to be maybe military personnel moving around, and it looks as though the Evenheart Sons have settled in for a couple of days just to wait for that relief force to come in from Kentares to grab the supplies. But I'd like to open our scene with this exterior shot of the Latropo. We see the giant, I guess, what is it, the dropship just sitting there, as it were. And we watch as Willa comes walking down the platform. She's got her motorcycle that she used during the last session. She's walking towards it. She's got a little toolbox. And as she walks up to it, she shouts over, and we see Lawrence. Lawrence, let's say that it is midday. You've been at this base for about 3 days. What would you be doing outside during, say, the 3rd day of your stay here at this base you've just occupied?
I think he would be. I mean, have the Allied forces come and taken the ammo away already?
No, you're still waiting. That's the only reason
Okay.
you're still here right now, is you're waiting. They were supposed to be here yesterday, and they still haven't arrived. You actually haven't heard anything from them other than we're delayed, and they haven't told you when they're going to arrive. And they said just hold tight, we'll be there when we can, kind of thing.
Okay. I think. Let's see. Lawrence is going to be, checking out the king crab for the most part. He's going to be looking at how any markings on the king crab itself, any identifiers of what force we just took out that were here. And outside of that, he might also be trying to get the wolfhound, or sorry, not the wolfhound, the conjurer back into action.
Okay. So you've got the 2 drop ships outside. You see that the king crab, which was actually destroyed just outside of the walls, it's still kind of this heap of slagged metal. It's going to take some work. And as you look over, you see that Dina is standing next to it, along with Robbie, and they seem to be having just not an argument in this moment, but they seem to be disagreeing, I would say, on how to approach, Richie, how to get this thing back into the dropship. And you hear Dina saying, "That's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard in my entire life, Robbie." And Robbie goes, "My name's Richie. Why the fuck did you call me Robbie?" And she goes, "Because you've made me so goddamn angry. You're so stupid. How are you even a mech tech? What? How do you even..." And they're going back and forth. So it really is an argument. But as you look over in their direction, Lawrence, you actually hear Willa call out to you, and she says, Lawrence, hey, Lawrence, you got like 2 seconds?
Yeah, what's up?
And she says, what do you know about motorcycles?
What do I know about motorcycles? Let's get him up.
They've got 2 wheels. They go. "Vroom."
They got 2 wheels. They make various noises depending on the propulsion system.
Mm-hmm.
He does not know much. Well, they are very fast form of transport. I don't know how to work on them if that's what you're looking for.
She frowns at you in this moment, kind of giving you this disappointed look. And she says, so you're telling me you have no idea how to work on machinery, is that right?
Pretty much. Me and machines don't go so well.
Really?
Especially computers.
Not at all. Not well at all. You have no idea how to work on machines at all. So if I was to ask you for some assistance, maybe to help me find some parts in the supply shed, you would not know what to look for. Is that right?
I mean, I can hold wrenches. I just don't know how to take apart things.
Give me a 2d6 plus charisma check here, if you would.
I would.
Does anyone else hear that plane going overhead?
Is it me? Is it coming from my mic?
Does anyone else hear that second plane going overhead?
I think I do.
They don't usually fly so close together.
That's weird.
Yeah.
If you're referring to something that's on the map, I can't see. That's why I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, look, another one.
Oh, look, another one. It's all good, man.
The sky is just full of planes going
It's just
straight.
She's got this tool bag. She sets it down and she crosses her arms and she just gives Lawrence this look like, "Are you, what is wrong with you?"
Yeah, I can't roll. Roll 20's not starting for me.
No worries. So you know what's going to happen? She's literally going to drop the tool bag. She's going to grab onto his flight suit and she's going to drag him to the supply chest, and then we're going to fade to black. All right? That supply, the little supply shed, and we're going to fade to black there in that moment.
Yeah.
But,
she's coming on to you.
That's where we're at. She's coming on to you hard, Lawrence. Coming on to you hard. But
okay.
It was good. It was good. So there you go. And then we're going to pivot over. I'd like to know, Callum, where would you be spending some of your time? Again, 3rd day, midday, you were supposed to be relieved by the Allied forces here yesterday, so you've stayed on a little bit longer than anticipated, which is actually working out because there's all of this salvage that the mech tax, logistics, Yinny's working with everyone, trying to figure out, like, what are we going to take? What are we going to try and sell? How can we even take all of this stuff? But what would Callum be doing in this moment?
I think for the most part, since Callum and Sam and Bruce, their machines are relatively undamaged.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would actually be spending some time with them out on like deep patrols.
Okay.
And just to make sure everything's clear, but maybe at this point they're coming back to cycle back in for 3, 4, 5 hours to get some sleep, some food.
So we watch as the Mad Cat, the Centurion, and the Griffin all make their way back. No, it was she was working with the Griffin, was it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Bruce had the Griffin, Sam had the Centurion.
Perfect. So we watch as the 3 of you enter back in through the wall, kind of on that southeastern corner. And we see the 3 mechs come in. There's not really anywhere to quote unquote dock, or to, there's not like a landing pad or anything, or gantry where you can stop the mechs. So you just park them kind of near this central building, which is literally just a large, long warehouse. But as you all come in and you watch as Sam and Bruce start to, power down their mechs and get out. And as Sam hops out, she climbs down that kind of chain link ladder. We watch as you do the same. And then a moment later, you see Bruce starting to get out, and it looks like his leg is starting to give him some trouble, and he's kind of struggling to get out of his mech. But I'd like to just kind of give you a moment, you and Sam on the ground. Sam has this shit-eating grin on her face. She just looks super excited. And she's still going on and on, even though it's been 3 days, about how they took out that mech and how the fight went so well. And, you know, she's just feels like she's finally figured it out. And she's just like thanking you over and over for like believing in her. But you are also watching Bruce struggle to just climb down a little chain link ladder.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think Callum will just sort of look at her and say, well, I mean, wasn't a question of belief, Sam, because if you just hold the belief, that's a surefire way to get killed. It was necessary for you to be out there. But while you were, you proved that that's where you belong. So now it's not a question of me believing you can do it. Now it's me knowing you can because you showed me. Don't worry about if anybody else believes in you, because you got to believe in yourself first, and that's the only belief that you should have.
That shit-eating grin fades away in this moment, and you can see she is very contemplative. She is trying to maybe understand these words of wisdoms you've just tried to instill in her.
He's like, let me make it a little more simple, and he'll just put a hand on her shoulder and say, I was proud to have you both out there.
There looks to be this kind of twinkle in her left eye that then travels over to her right eye. The eyes grow a little brighter, as though something is clicking with her. And she says, it was an honor to fight with you, Callum, and
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. And he'll just look up, and I imagine like Bruce is like most of the way down.
Bruce is most of the way down. He actually
Yeah.
hops and kind of does like a little like hop, missing the last 3 links, almost stumbles but catches himself, and then starts to not hobble but just kind of hop over. You can just tell that being in the cockpit for so long has maybe put a little extra stress on that leg of his that is a little bit, you know, doesn't quite work quite right.
Well, he'll look at both of them before he sort of sets them on their way and just say, grab some food, drink plenty of water. Bruce, I want you to go by the med tech, get him to look at your leg and see if they can do anything to help you. We're out again in 6 hours.
Yes, sir. And thank you, sir.
He says, no, thank you both. I couldn't have done it without you.
Bruce smiles, this look of pride on his face. And then you see a little bit of mischievous kind of smirk appear. And he says, Callum, can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah.
Does this mean we get to be on the payroll now?
I've got to have a conversation with a couple of people, but I mean, I won't hide it from you. Yeah, I intend to propose that we end your apprenticeship and start getting you some real work.
He smiles. He nods. He stands up as straight as he can, favoring his right leg over the left, and brings his hand up to salute you. You watch as Sam does the same, and Sam moves over to Bruce to help him towards the Stropo and to go into the med bay. Anything else Callum would like to do in this moment, or do you feel like you just probably kind of head off and maybe get some sleep?
Yeah, I think at least he's going to try to get an hour or two of sleep first before he does anything.
I love it. I love it. Let's pivot on over to Willow. Willow, you had to punch out. You were a little banged up, not quite as bad as Cyprian, just a day or so, you maybe had like a minor concussion, couple cuts, bruises. Your left shoulder feels like it might have taken a pretty heavy kind of bang. But where would Willow be? Third day, midday of your occupation of this base.
Willow would be doing everything in his power to be dodging as much work as possible.
That is absolutely brilliant. I think that is absolutely brilliant. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to pivot over. We're actually going to pivot over inside of the Stropo. The Latropo's kind of become the operations base, the operations section where everyone is like going in and going out, whereas the Stropo has become kind of just this is where people go to rest and sleep. So I think it would be interesting if we cut to a scene of you inside the galley. You're inside the galley, and you have a chance to. You're eating some food by yourself. And what are you having? What is Willow eating midday? What's his food of choice here?
I mean, his food of choice would be a nice medium rare steak with mashed potatoes and gravy, but
All right.
I'm sure whatever the slop the ship has will
We probably
suffice.
got a medium rare steak with mashed potato MRE.
Yeah, you do have one of those. It's actually really good warmed up. It's not as good as a fresh steak, but it's a close second. It's a close second.
How many months out of date is it? Because if it's like 3 or 4 months out of date, it's still
Only one.
probably good.
It's only
Oh,
1
yeah.
month out of date.
Yeah.
It's basically
Fresh.
fresh. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically fresh. So we see you in there. We see you eating this steak, and as you're slicing into it with that steak knife, you bring it up to your mouth. You hear the door of the galley here open, and in walks this sergeant major, and he's got a clipboard in his left hand. He's got a very nice looking fountain pen in his right, and as he walks in, he goes, "Ha, Willow, just the man I was looking for. Hope I'm not interrupting."
Well, no.
Excellent. And he goes and he sits down, and you see that this clipboard has a stack of paper that looks to be roughly 3/4 of an inch thick. There is a lot of paperwork here. And he sits down at the little table here in front of you, takes the clipboard, turns around, slides it across, and he says, "I need your opinion on a few potential recruits." And as he slides it across, he motions for you to start to peruse it.
Shouldn't this be the purview of Callum and Lawrence?
You are squad leader, so your opinion is valuable and necessary.
I have a feeling that you are giving me this so that I am doing some amount of work, because you know that I'm trying to dodge as much work as possible. I'm not going to try and insult your intelligence.
He says nothing, just that cold, calculated, just sergeant major stare that he gives sometimes. It actually looks very similar to the stare that he gives to Cyprian when he knows like so maybe Cyprian's been complaining about something, or he's trying to he wants to treat Cyprian. He's balancing between treating Cyprian as a son and as one of his quote unquote employees. So it's that same kind of stare that he gives him.
I've never had a father, but having one like you wouldn't be so bad. You're looking at me like you look at Cyprian. It's kind of weird.
Compliments won't get you out of this work.
I didn't think so. So, what's the most promising one? Let's start with that.
He nods and he says, "Well, there is I'm going to be candid with you. We're running very close to the edge right now as far as finances. This last job did not pay well. The salvage we received, we're likely going to have to offload some of it just to keep ourselves running, simply because of the cost of the maintenance of some of these heavier mechs, the assault mechs that we've picked up. We can only afford one. The one that, in my opinion, seems the most promising is a young man that is seeking to leave a mech mercenary company known as the Red Corsairs. And he'll actually grab the clipboard back, flip it up to the middle of the pages, kind of wrap it around, clipboard it, and then slide it back. And the Mechwarrior in question seems, as you start to read through it, I'm actually going to have you do this. I'm going to have you roll. Do you have tactics by chance?
I think I have leadership.
Leadership. Why
I
don't
have
you roll us a
leadership.
leadership check here really quick? I think that would be interesting. Oh, yeah, you're probably going to get at least a 7. At least a 7.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
also Willow is looking at this page and has put down his knife and fork
Mhm.
and has picked up the entire steak with his hand that isn't using on the paper and just dipping it in the mashed potatoes and gravy and just chewing it.
What a guy. What a guy. So he is just dived into that, which is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, you are starting to dig into that. You're starting to dig into it. And hourly, correct me if I'm wrong, it is Jacob is the name of the new
Jacob Vastloth. Yep.
Jacob Vastloth. Here's the first thing you recognize, Willow. This gentleman seems overqualified for a small little outfit like yours. And what is not off-putting, but what maybe gives you a little bit of pause in this moment is, why would such a competent Mechwarrior want to come and work for such a brand new, run-of-the-mill, kind of shitty merc company like yours? And that's not to put you guys down. You've done amazing things over the last 2 years, but you guys are kind of beneath him. And that's the impression you're getting. But yet he put in the application. He's got great recommendations from multiple different well-known Mechwarriors. He's got an A+ rating with the better Mechwarrior Bureau, as it were. Just looks fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And his fee, like his monthly salary, is probably about half of what you'd expect someone with his expertise, and even just the mech that he wants to bring along. He's got his own mech. He's got a Warhammer, and it's just, yeah, it seems too good to be true that this guy wants to come and work for you. That's the impression you get.
So, Sergeant Major, what's the catch here? This guy is way overqualified. His fee is not nearly half what it should be. Is he running from something? I mean, I know. I was for a while.
That's why I brought him to you, Willow. Not to draw comparisons, but he reminds me of you in some ways, and I'd like you to talk to him. I'd like you to figure out if he is hiding something, if he is running from something, and even if he is, similar to how you have adapted and how you've become a competent and important member of this mercenary outfit, perhaps his demons won't be a problem for us. Perhaps whatever he's running from may be helpful in some ways.
Possibly, as long as he's running from Katrina, then it would give us something. But I think so. We are in sore need of very good mech pilots. We may not have much of a choice. I don't see any flips through the pages getting, gravy on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything nearly a quarter of the value that this pilot would be.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's running from half the galaxy, this still might be worth it.
Well, I'm going to leave the decision up to you, Willow. You let me know. And if not him, we can only afford maybe one other. So make your choice and get back to me within the next 2 days. Understood?
Yes, sir. Where is he? How do I contact him?
And he will smile at you. He's actually due to arrive here later today.
Great. I'll review the rest of these and see if I can pull out a couple more names as second picks, just in case this one doesn't work out.
He nods and he says, Enjoy your steak.
And Willow, who's been gnawing on the steak, like, someone would gnaw on an apple as they were
Mhm.
doing work, just go and then go back to flipping through the pages, eating his steak.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to pivot over to the med bay, where a bruised, dinged up, cut up Cyprian has been slowly but efficiently recovering. Slowly but efficiently recovering. And we're actually going to cut to his mother, who is kind of taken over as a not like a quote unquote doctor, but she does have some medical training, and so she's kind of taken over as maybe like the lead of the med techs, as it were. And she's checking some of your readouts, and you hear the boop 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 kind of noise, and you just are starting to wake up. You've been sedated for the last like day and a half, so you're feeling a little bit groggy, and as your eyes start to adjust to the fluorescent lights above you, you hear your mother speak to you, and she says, "Good morning, and welcome back to the land of the living, Cyprian. How are you feeling?"
Cyprian will probably just groan.
Good. At least you're feeling something. It means you're, well, alive. And she will move over, and you see her kind of adjust this IV, and she like they've got those little stoppers. She loosens it slightly, and you feel about 5 seconds later, you feel this rush of this pain-numbing kind of medication flow into you, and you start to feel very, very, very relaxed. It's like some very nice morphine, like very relaxed. So the pain starts to kind of wash away, and she leans down over you in this kind of motherly sort of tone, and she says, "Does that feel better, darling?"
His eyes kind of roll back a bit as it gets into his system. And then he'll let out a deep sigh and go, "Well, it certainly wouldn't make anything worse."
You're going to need to stay, well, lay low for the next couple of days, but you should make a full recovery. By the way, and she kind of has this, like, almost mischievous look on her face, like a mother that knows something and probably knows better than the child kind of look.
Cyprian will go, I know that look, Mum. What?
There's been someone that's been checking in on you every day since you've been laid up. She asked me not to say anything, but I'm sure you know exactly who I'm talking about.
He's going to kind of slump a little bit further down in his
The blankets
bed
get
a
a little
little bit,
closer
yeah.
to your face, yeah.
But he's not going to say anything. He's just going to.
Here's the twist: it's the lawyer.
What a twist. And she says, "I'll leave it up to you, Cyprian. I can tell her you're awake, or I can tell her that you're still unconscious and sleeping. Which do you prefer?"
He's going to change the subject and say, "Is my data slate around?"
And she leans over, and actually, if you look on the edge of the bed, it's actually just between your two legs. So if your legs are outstretched, there's a little data pad. She said, "I left it there for when you woke up. I figured you'd want it."
He'll reach and grab the data slate and then start and like start it up, and as the Windows ding 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 starts up, he said, "Give me an hour."
She smiles and nods. She points to a little button. "If the pain becomes too unbearable, just press this button and you'll get a little dose of the good stuff. I'm glad you're all right." And she will kiss his forehead, give him kind of a little, like, not a squeeze of the cheek, but just a light hand on his cheek, just as a mother would. And then she will turn and she will leave the medical room, leaving Cyprian a few moments to himself. What is Cyprian doing on the data
Make sure
pad?
not to overdose, honey.
Yeah, make sure not to kill yourself, sweetheart.
He's waiting to press the button when Dina comes in. Like, shit, get me out of this place.
If it wouldn't be too much trouble to interject, I think Willow,
Yeah.
seeing the Cyprian's mother leave, would
Miss Devon.
actually enter the Cyprian.
I think
the
that's
med.
perfect. That's perfect. So maybe you've gone looking for him. You see Mrs. Devon leave his room, and you're able to pretty much slip in right after her. And so Cyprian, the door opens, and you can't quite see who it is at first. And in your kind of medical, heavily medicated state, perhaps Willow looks like someone that you don't want to see, and takes you a moment to realize who it is. But please take it away, gentlemen. The scene.
Cyprian, you're awake. Good.
Cyprian will sigh. And go, oh, it's you.
What's that
Sorry,
supposed to
I
mean?
thought you were going to be somebody else.
Most people would skip past that, but who else could I be? I'm Willow.
Yeah, I know you're Willow. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to be somebody else. It's fine. Well,
I feel like my personality is a bit bigger than that, but that's fine. We'll skip through this. How high are you right now?
are we looking at a scaling 1 to 10 or?
Yeah, like can you count to 100? Do you remember the alphabet? Do you remember what happened a couple days ago?
Yes to all of those 3, but it might take me a while.
Fair enough. Good enough. Willow will move over to stand next to Cyprian and hand him a stack of like 15 sheets from the clipboard. Say, your father's looking for new recruits. He had me go over, frankly, an absurd number of them. Your father doesn't do anything in half measures, does he?
Cyprian's going to kind of ignore that and go, are you going to try and get me to do the work that the sergeant major assigned to you while I'm laid up in bed being medicated with morphine?
No,
having
I'm actually here because you have an extremely strange power to just understand people, and I don't get it. I had to work really hard to get to it, but you just seem to pick it up. So that's why I asked how high you were. So I wanted you to look at these and just give me what you would think about these.
He's going to take the paper and then like shake his head and say, I still don't know why he uses paper. This is ridiculous.
But oh yeah, your father, Cyprian, this is a little weird, and I know we had a heart to heart. I know we had a heart. Trust me, it's gonna get weirder. We had a heart to heart before the whole thing on Robinson and such. But your father, you know that thing your father does when he looks at you, like that thing he does when he looks at you.
The one where he can't work out whether he's going to be disapproving or angry. Yeah.
Yeah, he did that to me, and I don't know how to take that. I've never had a father. I've never had a father figure. I'm not sure I know how to process these feelings that I'm having at the moment.
It's fine. He'll tell you probably what you're supposed to be feeling about it. Don't worry.
I don't know. I feel like those eyes tell me he wants me to figure it out for myself.
Yeah, he'll give you a couple of days and then he'll tell you what the answer was. That's how he does.
You see, I've never.
Don't worry,
I've
whatever
never
answer you come to, you'll be wrong.
All right. I appreciate the advice. I've never gone through it, so I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But anyway, back to the actual work. You'll see one of them in there. It's the very front page. It's a little too good to be true. What do you think about that?
Cyprian will kind of scan the sheet and have a quick read of it.
I'm going to interject here really quick. Anders, what would be the thing that would stand out most about Jacob? Like, would it be a battle that he was in? Like, imagine that this is a resume that he submitted. What thing would stand out most as just the most impressive or most epic thing, perhaps, that he's done during his career as a mech warrior?
There is I would say it's a citation from his unit commander, Major Valerie, or actually it would be Aaron, I hate to ask you, it's Colonel Valerie Gordon, right?
Hilarious.
You got it.
Yeah.
Hilarious that you don't know either.
But it's a citation from his commanding officer saying that he successfully managed to beat. I believe I gave her the name. Daphne Dubois, the pirate queen of the Omega sector.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to best her in one-on-one combat.
A bachal?
Effectively, yes. She tried to bachal him, and he just shot her down.
You dare to refuse my bachol?
Brilliant. So an impressive feat. An impressive feat. But please continue, Steve.
I said, yeah, Cyprian will be reading through it, and like you'll see one of his eyebrows will raise and be like, why does Jacob want to join us?
I can only imagine he's running from something or has a crippling addiction.
He'll look up because he's been reading the thing and like not looking at Willow, and so he'll look up at Willow and goes, well, he'll be in good company.
How long do you plan on staying here getting high off this morphine? I mean, your mother's the med tech. She's funneling you the good stuff. I know. I've seen her do it.
He'll go back to reading.
Honestly, I think that's a great moment to stop this scene. That's where we're going to end that scene. I think that is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So at this point, we've done a couple of just intros, little vignettes of what everyone is up to. I want to open the floor to all of you. Does anyone have any scenes that they'd like to have, discussions either with each other, NPCs? Fill me in and we can start to have a couple of those scenes to discuss what the next steps are for Evenheart's Sons.
Willow, now that he is in fact doing work, will continue to do work. He's going to like maybe a half hour before Callum, Sam, and Bruce go back out onto their patrol. He's gonna have a meeting with Sam and Bruce.
Perfect. Awesome. Would you like anyone else to be there or just Sam and Bruce?
Specifically called for Sam and Bruce, but Willow doesn't give a shit who shows up.
I'd love it if Callum could be there as well. If that's all right for Callum. Okay, perfect.
Sure, yeah.
Awesome, I love it. So let's pivot over to the meeting room aboard the dropship, and we'll have, Sam, Bruce, Callum, and Willow there. In fact, I'd love it if Lawrence was there as well. Maybe Bruce actually asked if Lawrence could come, because seeing as the unit leader is asking to speak with them, he figures this might be something important, and he'd like his trainer to be there with him to fill him in, maybe just as moral support, as it were. So we cut to a scene of the 6 of you standing around. Cyprian is not there because he is currently high on morphine. But please, take it away.
Right. So it's been a couple of days. Again, congratulations on your first mission. It was quite a doozy. As you can see, Cyprian's still in the med bay. I'm recovering from my busted funny bone. But tough crowd. But I just wanted to say that you two did very well. And definitely would not have been a success without either of you there.
Thank you, sir, says Bruce, and he stands a little taller. Sam looks a little anxious in this moment. She kind of looks like she's expecting something, but is doing her best not to look too excited. You can tell that she's got these nerves. She's got this kind of bubbling in her gut, kind of like, like, ooh, I think something's going to happen. Like her eyebrows are a little raised, and she got kind of like trying to fight a smile and look all serious and professional, but she looks very excited right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you did a good job, and if it weren't for the two of you, I'm sure the rest of us would be dead right now.
She nods her head. Sir, does,
Hmm?
does this mean that? Does this mean we're being? Does this mean that we're now official mech warriors, sir?
As soon as you go out onto sortie, you're Mechwarrior. That's as far as I'm concerned.
She looks to Callum. Bruce looks to Lawrence for maybe for support, maybe for an official acknowledgement. Like, is it official then? Like, does this mean we're an official part? Does this mean we're no longer junior mech warriors?
A apprentice mech warriors don't have kill tallies.
Yeah. We'll get you squared away with the payroll. Should be fairly easy. You're already getting paid for your junior work. But as of right now, you are fully fledged mech warriors.
And the two of them cannot contain themselves. Bruce does this like, yes! It's the most excitement maybe you've seen out of him ever. Sam looks to Bruce and she can't control herself. She rushes over and gives him a hug, lifting him off his feet. And the two of them have a little celebratory kind of like dance thing there. And she's like, "We did it, Bruce. We did it. We did it." And Bruce is like, "I know, we did it. We're official mech warriors now, and this is awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much."
Soldiers,
Oh, yeah, they stand
attention.
straight.
You have one very important thing to do, and do it after the next patrol. Come up with unit designations.
The look of joy on their faces is indescribable. They have this just huge grins. You see Bruce look down for a moment at the holo display and then look back up. "I've already got mine."
Okay.
Old Deadeye.
Well, let's go with Jedi. Well, yeah, I don't know if you're quite old enough to have the old moniker yet. Maybe if you survive another 40 years. then you
All
can-
right. Sam looks over at him and says, "Blue fire."
I like it.
All right. We're going to go get ready. We'll be ready for patrol, Callum. And they both salute and they both ask for permission to leave.
Dismissed.
All right. As the two of them exit out of the meeting room, that leaves the three of you a couple of moments together to discuss whatever it is you'd like to discuss.
And I think at this point, Callum will let his facade drop for just a minute because he's been doing nonstop patrols for days, and he'll just sort of put his hands on the table, like almost do that thing where he bends at a 45-degree angle and almost like half stands, half lays down on the table, and just goes, "Oh my god, I'm so tired."
I would be out there on patrol instead of you, but the doctor still won't let me get back in a mech.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. I can handle it.
I really did hurt my funny bone ejecting though.
I mean,
I'm gonna roll. Oopsie daisy.
thankfully, I can attest that funny bone is well, it's not required for. I was gonna say a long and happy life, but I've never been particularly happy, so it's never. You can live long without one. I'll just put it that way. I have no loss of mobility.
Yeah, but what kind of life is it? I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you've missed. I miss the funny. I miss the funny.
Well,
Lawrence,
There are
you
okay.
had a
There
funny bone
was
once, right? You've had the funny.
Uh, I think so. I believe I still have my nerve endings in my elbow. Yes.
I want to point out that you all would notice that Lawrence has a massive hickey on his left neck, like on the left side of his neck. Massive.
not gonna say anything about it.
Excellent. I just want to point that out. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Actually, I think maybe Callum will like attempt a little bit of levity and say, "Well, Willow, I know that's injuries can keep you out of the cockpit. I mean, Cyprian's still laid up. Is he doing okay?"
I think so. He was only
Yeah.
a little high last time I saw him.
And I mean, Lawrence, I know you have a lot of extra duties these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I'm just glad that I made it out of that last battle in one piece. Sorry about the mech, but I couldn't do much about it.
Well,
Well,
I mean, it isn't completely shot up. It's
No, it
if it can
still
be,
works.
yeah, it's fine. And
It's better than the 9 gear.
I mean, to be, yeah,
Oh,
but to be honest, unless I absolutely have to, I probably won't be leaving the cockpit of that Mad Cat anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Lawrence, how's my sister doing?
Oh, you just go for it,
What?
huh?
What? She is fine. What? Yes.
No, yeah, just fine.
Okay, all right, that's funny.
I think this is a good place to end the scene with Willow good-naturedly ribbing on Lawrence for his lack of social tact.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Any other scenes folks would like to have? And if not, I have a couple of other NPCs that want to interact with you guys. But any other scenes that you guys would like to have?
Um, yeah, yeah. If I could, and again, everybody else, I want everybody else to get theirs in if they did. So if this doesn't happen, it's fine.
Mhm.
But Callum would like to speak with Yinny.
Perfect. And I think Yini oftentimes, as is tradition, is usually on the bridge of one of the dropships at any given point. And so we're going to cut to a scene of Yini on the bridge of, let's say, the Stropo. And Ezame is actually there as well. But she's busy just, working on some paperwork, things of that nature. And we see Callum enter into the bridge of the Stropo at this point is actually not really lit up too much by that kind of unnatural fluorescent lighting. All of the doors of the viewports are all open and there's a lot of natural light coming in. So the only thing you see is that kind of soft orange glow of the different screens that the two gals are working on. But as you enter in, you see Yinny busy at work. Looks like she's got this star chart up and she's looking at different locations. She's looking at different job offerings and listings and just trying to figure out maybe where you guys are going to go next. But she doesn't see you approach at first.
And yeah, he doesn't make it a secret as he walks up. He just says, "Hey, Yinny, you got a minute?"
Oh, Callum. Yeah, absolutely. Can I be honest with you, Callum?
Yeah, because I'm about to be honest with you. So
Oh, perfect. Well, this will be great for both of us. We're cutting it real tight here. And when I say real tight, I mean we have to make some money because if we don't, we're not going to have enough to get out of this system. Well, that is to say, we've got enough to get to one other system, so this next job's got to be good. Either that or we've got to sell some of this salvage we've got. I mean, it's possible. And she looks over at Ezame. Ezame, how much can we make? And she goes, I'm working on it. I don't know yet. It's hard to offload equipment when you're in the middle of a war zone, but just give me some time, Yinny. And he's like, yeah, and see what I'm working with here? What were you going to say?
uh, yeah, something along that line. Uh, we don't. The dropships are overburdened as it is. we literally cannot take one more mech. And if I'm being perfectly honest, we should, for safety reasons, probably offload a couple. But I know the job the next one has to pay, and it has to pay a lot. But I think we also need to keep our eyes on the future, not just the next job, but the one after that, the one after that. We need more capacity to move. We need a bigger dropship.
Yinny looks to Ezume, and Ezume looks to Yinny, and you can tell that they're saying something to each other without saying something. And Yinny, you know Yinny. You worked with her for years. You trained together. You all have been friends for a long time. There's always been that kind of like you're as close as you can get without being actual family kind of thing. And so you know that she's got an idea, but it's a bad one. Like you know that look. She doesn't say anything. She waits for Callum to say something.
I think if there's sort of if this sort of representation of the bridge is accurate, I think even though that's the captain's chair, Callum is just going to spin it so it faces Yinny and sit down.
Yeah.
And he's just going to say, nothing's off the table. And I think that, to just leave it a little mysterious, is a good place to end that one.
Done. I love it. Who else has some scenes they'd like to have?
Callum is sorry. Cyprian's going to like see if he can send like a futuristic text to Richie.
All right.
Just saying like when you got 10-15 minutes and you're not busy, it'd be great to catch up.
Yeah, so I think that would be an awesome moment to where you send that text, and about 5 minutes later, you see a very haggard and very maybe annoyed and tired. Richie usually has that kind of shit-eating grin on his face. He looks like he is like just there to have a good time. Never complains. He looks disheveled and exhausted. And as he slips through the doorway, you see him look left, look right, just outside the door, watches it close behind him, and then pushes the button that locks it. And he goes, yeah, I got time. Like, I got like an hour, maybe 2, 3, 4. And he sits down on the bed opposite you and just, all right, yeah, what can I do for you, man? What's going on?
Cyprian's going to kind of put the data slate that he's been messing about with. He's going to put it down on his lap and go, yeah, sorry about the night gear. It's
don't worry about it. It's not you. Just, oh my God, she is out of control right now. She is angry. It's like worse than it normally is. Like I tried to ask her why they call it a king crab, because I mean it does look like a king crab, and she nearly bit my head off. And when I say bit my head off, I meant literally like she tried to bite me. It was really messed up. Something is bothering her, and I have no idea. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Cyprian's gonna jump in and be like, well, yeah, because of the crab. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like that one actually makes sense, right? Like, I mean, it's literally a crab, and it's chink,
and the
chink,
whole
chink.
Cockpit,
yeah,
cockpit
looks like a shell, right? Like that one makes sense. That's what I'm saying. Like the wolfhound doesn't really look like a wolf. The crab, it literally has claws, and it's shaped like a crab. Like that one makes sense. Yeah, clamp, like, give him the clamps, right? Like it makes sense in that situation. But man, she did not like that. All right, she did not. Dina did not like that one, and like she tried to bite me, like literally. But yeah, what did you want to talk about?
Cyprian's going to quickly change the subject, like deliberately. Richie might or might not notice, and you're like, so what do you know about this Esme?
Esme, the lawyer?
Yeah.
She's cool, I guess. She's a nice person. Why do you ask? and he leans back on the bed, placing his hands beside him. So imagine that, you know, he was leaning forward to engage in the conversation, and as he leans back, his physical presence is like he's trying to disengage from you, but there's nowhere for him to go because he's locked himself in here with you. So he's like, yeah, why do you ask?
Cyprian's gonna just like turn to me like, "Do you do me a favor?
Maybe.
You find out who she is, where is she from,
Uh,
who is she? Find out a bit more about her.
what? What?
Just find out who she is."
Why me? I don't. What do you? It's like, what? And he looks super uncomfortable.
Cyprian's gonna like look at him and with almost a shit-eating grin, be like, "Because you're the boss, aren't you? You're the boss of all the mech techs. You're in charge of this. Well, apart from the piloting, you're in charge of this ship. You know who's who and what's going down."
He's leaning back. He then leans forward. I'm gonna have you roll a. If you have negotiations, I'm gonna have you roll it. If you don't, you're just gonna roll 2d6 plus charisma. It's only a 7. Boomski. And so as he starts to lean forward, he gets to that kind of midway point, which again, if his physicality was an indication of how engaged or disengaged he was from the conversation, he leans past that midway point forward, showing that he's much more engaged, and his hands come forward and he starts to talk with them. And he says, yeah, you know what? I am the boss. You're right, I am the boss. But why her? You know what? Don't worry about it. And he's going to give you a wink, and he says, I got you. I'll find out what's going on with her. I've got my, he looks left and right. I've got my ways, if you know what I mean. And he does this weird, awkward eyebrow thing. His eyebrows go up and down.
Cyprian's going to skip right past that.
And he keeps doing
My
it.
man.
I'm sorry. Oh, jeez, that was weird. Yeah. Was that all you wanted to talk about? Was there anything else?
How's everything else going out there?
It's good. We're starting to run a little low on supplies to repair, and I mean, I don't want to be the one to break the news to you guys, but we're gonna have to decide what we want to take and what we want to leave, what we want to sell. We can't take all of these mechs unless we get a bigger dropship, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not like they're selling them over at the corner store or anything. So, also your night gear, you really did a number on that one. If I can be honest, it's I know you mentioned it earlier, but it is
Cyprian's going to kind of look down and be like, yep.
Yeah. Can I ask you a favor, Cyprian?
Yes.
And he's gonna stand up. He's gonna walk over to you. He's gonna kind of look at you. He's gonna kind of look at like all the wires and the little tubes and stuff going into you right now, and he's gonna go, can you do me a favor and can you talk to Dina?
About what?
And he's gonna pat you on the head. Just literally pat you, like pat, pat, pat. You know what. And then he is going to turn, walk towards the door, unlock it, turn back, and say, will there be anything else, sir?
Can you check on that generator and just let me know what's what with it?
If everything goes well, we should have it back up and running by the end of the day. So if we get attacked, at least the turrets will be up in place.
Okay, thanks. If you
Good.
see Dina, let her know that I'm, well,
Awake?
awake.
I got you, man. And good luck.
As he leaves, he's going to see me like reach and press that morphine button.
And you feel super chill. Super, 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 super chill. All right, so any other scenes anyone would like to have? I think that was fantastic. What else we got?
Willow actually wants to seek out Dina.
Okay.
Preferably Dina and Richie, but
Yeah.
Dina's the important one.
Okay. So Dina and Richie have both been mostly, other than that scene where he was off and talking with Cyprian, they have been mostly out on the battlefield looking at different, the different salvage, trying to figure out what they can piece together, etc. So you would actually find them just outside looking at, they're going to be looking at the king crab, honestly, is what they're looking at. They're going to be looking at the king crab. So we'll cut to a scene of you walking out towards the king crab. Dina is deep in the bowels of this thing. There's a bunch of mech techs. They all look exhausted, flustered, maybe even a little annoyed. And from inside, you hear the ever classic just string of expletives from Dina. And Richie is standing near some of the other mech techs and just trying to keep them calm. They all look very exhausted and very tired. So yeah, Willow, you approach.
Hey, Dina, Richie, I just need to borrow you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Dina, what the fuck do you want? Willow, the unit commander, he's here to just ask some questions. Tell him I'm busy. Or, I mean, I can, but it's very insistent. Pause. Fine. And you see her climb out of like the center torso of this king crab, covered in grease, covered in like metal shavings, just looking completely just in the thick of it. She has thrown herself into her work, and she walks over. You see her kind of brush her hands off. She goes, "What?"
Well, glad to see you too. See you. Glad you're doing well. She really is quite upset, isn't she? Not even he leans over to Richie. Not even a expletive back. Dina, are you sure you're okay? Normally
Fine.
you'd be mad.
What do you want?
All right, fair enough. We need to talk about. Well, he sweeps his arms wide to the battlefield. We need to talk about this slag out here.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, well, a lot of it is slag. We couple of things we want to pick up, like this king crab here. It's
Mhm.
a force multiplier for us, but
Yeah.
we need to figure out what we can break down, what we can use for resources, what we can sell.
Talk to Richie, and she's gonna turn to walk away from you unless you stop her.
Willow's gonna stop her. Hold on, Dina. Hold on.
She stops. You hear her go. Turns
Yeah,
back.
Richie's the boss. You're the best spec tech we've got. You're the one who knows what is working, what isn't working. Probably just by looking at this field of ruin. You need to work with him.
Give me a streetwise, because you can use that in place of negotiations, as you often have.
I've got both of them.
Whatever one you want to use, your choice.
They are both the same.
Boom.
Oh.
Dunzo. You see her grit her teeth, and that just narrow-browed, slanted eyebrow, just angry expression on her face starts to not soften per se, but you see her kind of fight through it in this moment. And she says, I can fix the king crab. We can probably use one of the quick draws to fix the other two, but it's just going to come down to that we don't have enough space for everything.
No, we don't. Which is why I need the two of you to go through this pile of nonsense, this field of ruin here, figure out what's usable, what has great value, and what is totally worthless and only useful as scraps so that you can repair mechs in the future.
Okay, yep, we can do that.
Mm-hmm. And then, after a couple of hours or once you're all done with that, I don't know how long we're going to be here. Go talk to Cyprian. He's awake.
The expression on Dina's face, she's covered in like grease. Her hair is kind of blackened. You see like metal shavings and just grime and dirt on it, but you can see the color drain from her face. The kind of red flushed angry look starts to fade away. You see her get very pale in this moment. And as she does so, she says, He's awake?
Yeah, woke up
Is,
maybe an hour ago.
is he alive? Is he fine? Is he hurt
It's a
still?
little high, but yeah, probably.
The rag that she has in her hands, she chucks towards Richie. Richie barely catches it, and you watch as Dina makes a beeline towards the Latropo, where Cyprian is currently laid up.
Dean, I really think you should give it a couple of hours. Do this first, and she's gone.
She's gone.
Well, it was worth a shot. But Richie, I'm serious. You and Dina need to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can take care of it. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Hey, got a random question for you, Willow.
Sure.
Have
Do you mind a random answer?
Yeah, absolutely. I love random answers. Also, king crab makes sense, right? Like it looks like a crab, right? Like all the other ones, not so much. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. So,
Poodle.
kind of a weird situation. Cyprian asked me to look into Esme.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if that came from you or just him, so I wanted to ask.
I mean, she hasn't tried to give me up to the Galactic Federation or whatever the police are in this section, so I don't care what's going on with Esme.
That's hilarious. I love you. Yeah, no worries.
Space police.
The space
Yeah.
police. Yeah, space cops.
As far as
But,
I'm concerned, that we don't have to worry about each other.
All right. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll have all that figured out by the end of the day, figure out what we can repair, what we can salvage, what we can sell, and I'll have it on your desk first thing in the morning.
Sure. If you want to take a couple of days, I know working with Dina can be, and he hikes his thumb over at all the mech techs who are, I'm sure, now taking
Sitting
a
down.
much needed breather.
Yeah, they're sitting down on the ground, just like, oh my god, thank God.
Yes, I get it. I get it. Yeah. So take a couple of days as and he puts his hand over his eyes to keep the sun as he looks south from the base all the way to where all those light mechs and medium mechs that the Callum arm destroyed went. There's still shit kilometers out that way. It's
absolutely.
You'll get time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries, man. We'll take care of it. I think that's a good moment to pivot away from that. I do want to open the floor to anyone else that has any other scenes they'd like to do. Otherwise, I've got a couple of NPCs that want to interact with a couple of the PCs. Anything else right now? Beautiful. Beautiful. So we're gonna cut back to the med bay because that's funny to me. And Cyprian, you are feeling pretty high, but there is going to be a heavy knock on your door, in this moment.
Cyprian will like make it look like he was asleep, and then be like, "Yeah."
The door opens. Stepping just past the threshold is a grimy, looks like she tried to quickly clean up, but did a real shit job of it, Dina. And she just steps in and narrow-eyed, almost angrily, looks at you. I see you're awake.
He's going to be like, "Oh, hey, Dina.
Are you going to recover fully? Are you going to be okay?"
I don't know. I've not had the full. I don't know at this point.
And that anger expression on her face actually softens, and it turns into more concern, where she takes another step forward and says, "Do you mean you might not make a full recovery?" What?
No, I should be fine. I should be fine.
Should be and will be are two different things.
He's going to lean over and then go to press the morphine, but he's not actually going to press it. He's just going to ham it up, like properly hamming it up.
And you watch as Dina moves over, and she actually like checks the morphine and looks at it and starts to look at the charts. You get the impression that she has no idea what she's looking at, but she wants to help in some way, and the tone of concern and care, like just flowing off of her right now, like. She's not angry anymore. She's more concerned and says, I should probably I should probably go check with your mom and see if there's anything. Is there anything I can do? Anything I can get you? And almost uncontrollably, her hand has gone from like her side and is like reaching towards your forearm, and just kind of like lightly lays her hand on your forearm in this kind of concerned, I want to be close to you and I'm concerned about you, but I'm also mad at you kind of thing.
Cyprian would be like, no, she's got it on some beeper arrangement. So if anything changes, everything should be fine. How is everything out there?
Super fucked up. You broke my mechs.
He's gonna kind of unwittingly look down like, yeah, they're fucked.
And there's a silence. The only thing you hear is that beep, beep, beep. And Dina, who has her arm, so like imagine that you're like your arms are over the blankets, you've got the IVs going down, her right hand is on your left arm, just like kind of near your wrist, but also kind of half on your hand. And she will, without looking at you, try to wrap her hand to where it's holding yours. Just kind of like this kind of half grip, like she wants to grab onto your hand in this moment.
Cyprian will kind of help, but sort of not, just like half help.
Half help. So she
Yeah.
manages to get it around, and you're like half holding each other's hands. She says, I'm really glad you're not dead.
That makes two of us.
And there's a small little kind of grip. She tightens it for a moment. And you get the impression she's almost testing the waters, trying to see if he grips back as well. This kind of non-verbal communication in this moment.
He will, but it's not going to be like a full-on grip. It'll be like a little bit non-committal and a little bit apprehensive.
Okay. She still hasn't looked down at him. She's still staring at like the medical readout. Another couple of moments go by of silence. I'm sorry if I came on too strong.
I
really suck at this, and I'm really bad at it. And if you'd rather I just leave you alone, I'll be happy to do that. You both kind of like talk over each other in this moment, but she stops and lets you speak.
Well, I guess we can be rubbish at it at the same time. I guess.
There's a small smile on the side of her face. Yeah, that sounds good.
He's going to like let go of her hand and then grab the data slate and then distinctly change the subject. And like, I've been thinking, if we take the large and medium lasers off the night gear, maybe put a flamer on there to give it some close protection. I really don't want to be near mechs at any point soon.
And
At least not enemy mechs.
You watch as like she lets your hand go and finally turns to look at you, and it's like you're speaking each other's language. And there's a smile on her face, and she goes, actually, that's a really good idea. I think we could make that happen. And I think this is a great moment to end that scene with the two of you discussing mech modifications to the night gear as potential upgrades to it. It's wonderful.
Love to see true love bloom.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So good. So good. All right. And with that, once again, I open the floor. Any final scenes? Because if not, we're going to watch as a Warhammer crests the hill and begins to make its way towards the base. It is not showing up as an enemy contact. It's actually showing up as an allied contact. And yeah, let's see. And Anders, describe what Jacob's Warhammer looks like as it gets close.
It is, in essence, it looks at first glance, it looks very much like a standard Warhammer 60. The Davion modification. No SRM 6. But as soon as it gets closer, you'll notice that it looks a bit beefier. It looks slightly heavier. Not like, not like, oh, it's an Atlas style heavier over a stock Warhammer, but a little bit beefier, a little bit bigger. The PPCs, instead of having the usual teal or light blue glow, have kind of a deep purplish glow. The pulse, the lasers on its chest are clearly the pulse variety. They are far more modernized, and it has a set of small lasers, one on each arm, and then 2 more in the chest. It's effectively kind of a disco ball setup.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So we would see this Warhammer approaching, and Callum, Sam, and Bruce are out on patrol. You guys would pick it up on long-range scans. Again, it's not transmitting a enemy contact. In fact, it's not even trying to keep itself hidden, and it actually is transmitting the Evenheart Sun's transponder code as friend or ally. But you guys would see this Warhammer approaching, and Sam and Bruce would both come over on the private channel and be like, sir, we picked up a contact. It's a Warhammer, but it's broadcasting Evenheart's... It's broadcasting our transponder code. Are we expecting someone?
And Callum, I think, knows who this probably is. But it's a good learning opportunity. And he'll just say over the comms, assume we weren't. What do we do next?
Sam and Bruce both fall silent for a few moments, and then you hear Bruce pipe in first. We should form a pincer, giving us the greatest possible chance of engaging the enemy contact at all angles. There is you hear him kind of like pull up his map inside his mech, like you can hear like the whoop, kind of like zoom in. He says there's a small valley just to the south. I could move into that position, which would get me out of their sensor range, and then you and Sam could approach from the front.
Good. Proceed. Do not fire until I give the order.
Aye, sir. Sam falls in behind you. Bruce moves off into this kind of like hiding spot, setting up a little bit of an ambush, and we watch as the Mad Cat, the Griffin, and the Centurion all move into position. And Jacob, you pick up a couple of contacts, just 2 to begin. First you saw 3, then 1 disappears. You pick up 2, and you are approaching, and you see this Mad Cat, you see a Centurion, and yeah, take it away.
And yeah, it was just Callum will broadcast on an open channel. Unknown Warhammer. You're interdicting into Everhart's Sun's area of operation. Identify yourself or be fired upon.
This is Jacob Vasloff. I've been assigned to your unit. Have you not received word of my, I guess, arrival?
And you just hear Callum, like, very matter-of-factly state, transmit your credentials.
And Jacob he will transmit both, not only the, I think it's called an FFID, but he will also transmit, his MRB verified ID and number showing that
he's legit.
Yeah, he is legit. There we go. I forgot
Yeah.
to
I love it. No, you're good,
Go
man.
ahead.
So it all comes through. It's all legit. How does Callum respond?
I think.
Almost,
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt slightly.
yeah.
Jacob is gonna kind of keep his eyes peeled for anything that's like moving around him. Specifically, he's going to be checking for any force flanking him.
Yeah. So actually, I think this is a fun moment. Jacob, give us a tactics roll.
All right. I think I am decent on. I am okay on tactics.
That's actually really good. I'm gonna roll for Bruce. I have a feeling Bruce probably won't do that well. Bruce got a 14. So you actually
Respectable.
you see, and like it blips for just a second, but being as skilled as you are, Jacob, you know that there were 3 contacts, 1 disappeared. You look at the terrain and the layout of, like kind of like what it looks like, and yeah, that Centurion probably bopped over, that Griffin bopped over just behind that hill. So yeah, you know that they've set up a quote unquote ambush for you.
And yeah, no, at that, I think Callum will just. I sort of picture it's almost like coming out of a box canyon, and the Mad Cat is like just right in the middle
Yep.
of it, and then almost like a person would, it just takes a step back into the side to like just sort of open the path, and he says, "Fall in, Mister Vosloth. We'll lead you in."
And as he says that, we watch as the Griffin and the Centurion move up over the hills to kind of flank the Warhammer. And then, unless you state otherwise, Jacob, we watch as you proceed forward along that little lane. And in this moment, I'm gonna live update your name on the overlay because now you will be playing Jacob. Jacob. All right.
Oh man, production value.
Oh, production value, right? Hashtag production value, baby. Live updates. Let's go. Happened live on stream. What a time to be alive. But with all of that being said, our final scene, I think, is going to be a meeting aboard one of the dropships. I'm going to say the Latropo. And it's actually going to be inside of... excuse me. It's actually going to be in one of the mech bays. And it's everyone. Everyone's been asked to attend. And it's just kind of a big open, everyone gathers, and you've got everyone. You've got Willow, you've got Cyprian, you've got Bruce, you've got Sam, you've got Lawrence, you've got Willa. I mean, you've literally got everyone just arriving. And it is Sergeant Major who has actually asked everyone to attend, and there are some discussions of what's happening, why has he called this meeting, what's the battle plan, what are we going to be doing. So there's a good 50 or 60 people that have been gathered here in this moment, and Sergeant Major has a little podium that he's set up. We're going to scrap the podium. It's just him standing in front of everyone. And once everyone is shuffled in and everyone has positioned themselves, he is going to address the group. And he says, "First and foremost, everyone, I'd like to thank you all for being here in this moment. I have some exciting news. We are about to induct 3 new Mechwarriors into our company. Now, oftentimes, this is a happening that doesn't have a lot of fanfare. But seeing as we have 2 junior Mechwarriors that are now being promoted to official members of our organization, I thought it would be proper to give them and he smiles, proper welcoming. Bruce, Sam, please step forward." And Bruce will step forward and Sam will step forward. He will look over to Lawrence, and he will look over to Cyprian. "Lawrence, Cyprian, seeing as you are the 2 that have overseen these young Mechwarriors training, do you both acknowledge that they are ready to be fully inducted into our ranks?"
Oh, are you talking to me or to Cyprian?
I'm sorry, to Callum and
Okay.
Lawrence, excuse me.
And am I still speaking for Lawrence?
You are
or
still
am I
speaking for Lawrence in this moment. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, they have proven themselves on the field of battle, and they are now officially granted the rank of. Let's go make it simple. Private. Each.
Turns to Callum.
The battle ROMs speak for themselves. They're ready.
Excellent. By power vested in me as a leader of the Evenheart Sons, I promote you both to the rank of private. Congratulations. And Bruce and Sam both salute, and then he says you may step back. Both of them step back. In addition, we've hired a brand new Mechwarrior, coming from some... And he pauses for a moment. Coming from some well-bred stock, as it were. Jacob, would you please step forward?
And Jacob will step forward.
And he will state, I'd like to welcome you to the Evenheart Sons. Your rank shall be, as the other two, private to start off. But you also bring a wellspring of knowledge and expertise. I hope that you will use that knowledge and expertise to assist us in expanding our ranks and our standing with the Mercenary Review Board.
I hope so too, Sergeant Major.
Nods. You may step back. Well, that's all I had for you, so carry on. And he'll turn and he'll walk away from everyone, leaving everyone maybe just kind of like to hang out, discuss. But as the Sergeant Major moves off, Yinny will actually move over to Callum, and she'll say, hey, Callum, maybe now's a good time to discuss that option that we had discussed earlier.
Yeah.
So Yinny had gotten some information on a Union-class dropship. You know all the supplies that's been arriving on the planet? Well, it's got to arrive from somewhere. And Yinny, through some of her back channels, has found out when the next supply drop is due to happen. And she also has it on good authority that this supply drop, this Union-class dropship, won't be too well guarded. Now, as sometimes the back channel information is, perhaps it's good intel, perhaps it's bad intel, but this is an opportunity where you guys might be able to liberate this dropship. And it would give you enough space to, well, expand the company, as it were. However, it is going to be dangerous, regardless. And if things go poorly, it could mean the end, and you guys would be stuck on this planet. The other option, she's got a couple of other jobs in some surrounding systems that would give you enough to stay liquid for a while, and maybe even start to grow the bankroll, as it were. What are everyone's thoughts?
Well, it's going to be pretty dangerous, so I don't think we should do it unless everybody agrees. But for right now, a growing company, two Leopard class dropships just aren't going to cut it. My suggestion would be the Latropo crew. Is it the Latropo or the Stropo that is the command ship, quote unquote?
You know what? Let's make a decision on that right now. Which one do you want to be the command ship?
I mean, we've had more interaction with Upshire, so
yeah.
whichever ship he captains, which I think is
Latropo.
the Latropo.
Yeah,
So
Latropo. So Latropo is the command ship. I love
Okay.
it. Done.
so we move the crew and staff. If we do this, we move the crew and staff from the Latropo to the new dropship, and then we sell the Latropo.
And Upshire, who is there, he goes to interject, but Maribeth kicks him in the leg, and she says, "That sounds great. I love it." And Upshire says, "Yeah, I mean it's an upgrade, right? That's." And he looks around at the ship that you guys are standing in, the Latropo, and he says, "Yeah, it's fine. That works."
So entirely out of character, I was thinking to myself, what are the economics behind upgrading a ship? Does Upshire own the Latropo, or does the company own the Latropo? And then would we be giving him a new ship?
So that's a great question. I did get a request from Cyprian to bring up the star map really quick. So I'm just going to bring that star map up in the background so that you guys can see it really quick. But he owns the Latropo. The company pays him for its use. So if we do this, he would technically own the Union class dropship, which you hear Mary Beth explaining that to him, and his expression of "I don't want to give up my baby" goes from "I don't want to give up my baby" to "Wait, I'm getting a bigger baby? That sounds amazing." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm in. Totally in. That sounds amazing. Yep, all in. That's great. Yep."
Well, finances aren't my problem. It's someone else's problem. Sounds like that would be one hell of an upgrade.
And if we manage to offload the Leopard, that cash infusion should keep us liquid for a while.
Plus all the salvage that we can get rid of here. A lot of it is, well, flag.
Well, I mean, we strip it for every useful component we can get and
Agreed.
leave the
Hold on,
scrap.
there's a kitten attacking me.
Yeah.
The Latropo's cat starts attacking Willow's feet.
Come here.
Yep, there it is.
No biting.
It's beautiful.
No biting.
No, all the biting. It's glorious.
So I was going to say, as you're having that conversation down in the mech bay,
Mhm.
all of the mech pilots, both Lauren and Jacob and Yini, Sergeant Major, would get like a ping
Uh-huh.
on their little communicator, personal comms or whatever,
Mhm.
to go to that briefing room.
Okay. The briefing room. I like it. I like it. You guys get a ping from, so you're all discussing what to do, what the options are, and you get a ping from Cyprian to meet in the meeting room with the holo display.
I guess we can move this to there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Done. And
So
so,
as everybody gets in, like you'll see Cyprian like in his medical gown or whatever, with like the IV bag on its little stand that he's like dragged along with him,
Mhm.
messing around, and he's looking at the big star map
Mhm.
on the big hollow plate. And as everybody wanders into the room, he'll be like, "Guys, I've been thinking that we need a bigger ship. We need a bigger ship. We've got loads of mechs, but we've got nowhere to put them. We need a bigger ship. And if we're gonna close down Kentares, we need to close down its shipping routes. I mean, we've made a pretty good in with Kelly and Exeter. Seems like this place is relatively secure. The routes in and out of Kentares seem to be, well, between here and Kentares and Alantia, and we'll like zoom in on the specific local region.
Mhm.
Here, Kentares and Elbar, and with ramen. I mean, that sounds like some sort of a, I don't know, dried food stuff, like an MRE or something. But anyway, if we can take a couple of these planets and he'll like look up at everybody and see what expressions are on people's faces, then we've closed down like half of their shipping lanes.
Right.
How
I've got a
do
question
you,
though.
yeah, how do you, I think, and I think Jacob's going to follow up with, how do you plan on doing that?
And also, who's paying us?
And I have another question. Do we know if Exeter is still a viable, functioning socioeconomic power? I know the last time when we left, Cyprian had put in some ideas in some people's heads and stuff. Have you kept up with that? Do we know if they still exist?
Well, if any of that socialist stuff took root, you can be absolutely positive that the entire system has collapsed.
So Red
Cyprian will
Scare.
Cyprian will just glare at Cal and be like, "Really? We're gonna do this now? We're talking about this thing.
Yeah,
money.
I'm just
don't
saying
know.
that.
Money.
Okay.
Don't know about that. I've not got as far as that.
Okay.
Not got as far as that.
Yini butts in actually in this moment.
So-
Well, there's two different ways to get paid. Cyprian and Callum, everyone. We can get paid by an employer. We can get paid by the salvage we pick up and sell. I've started to run some of the preliminary numbers that Richie gave to me, and honestly, if we offload 2/3 of the mechs we just salvaged, that's basically the same as getting paid.
What your suggestion is, Cyprian, amounts to really well-funded piracy.
Yeah, and if we
Also,
Exactly. The best kind of piracy.
right, but if
Well-
we do that, the MRBC won't touch us, and we'll never
The
get a
other-
legitimate contract again.
the other thing is that I've just arrived here, and you know, possibly you haven't shown me everything, but looking at your two ships, I haven't seen a single aerospace asset in your entire inventory.
It's because we don't have
Andrew
any.
butts in, yeah, we don't have any.
Yes. So it's very hard to shut down shipping routes that use faster than light travel via the jump ship when you don't have a single aerospace fighter.
Cyprian's going to go into like one of the little pocket, like the top pocket on the medical gown, and pull out some pills that he's managed to pilfer from one of the cabinets while nobody
I
was
can
looking.
see that
And like pop
only
a couple of pills and be like, Yini's the only person coming to this with any sort of positive frame of mind. Why can nobody else bring any positivity to this?
Well, I'm quite positive on being a freebooter, but I've just not seen the logistics of it.
I'm positive that we can't lock down jump points and interdict whole systems.
Esme is going
I'm
to pipe in.
also-
Yeah, if I may, I know I'm just the lawyer and everyone hates me, but if we start piracy, just like Callum said, we're fucked. Because that's the only thing we'll be able to do. So we need legitimate contracts prior to piracy. I mean, that's like a desperation sort of play, and she just drones on for a second until everyone starts talking over her.
For
Yeah, I
what it's
didn't
worth,
join your guys' outfit to just suddenly go to piracy, personally. I didn't step down that far, I hope.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not going to resort to piracy. And for what it's worth, and Willow will look over at Esme, I think you're fine.
Thank you.
I don't know you.
Yeah, and he has no opinion.
Cyprian's gonna like start to become a little bit too exhausted, like he's clearly overexerted himself. He's got himself all the way from the med bay up here
Mm-hmm.
on his own steam, and is like now going to like look around and just find the nearest thing to sit on and like hang on to the little IV stand
Yeah.
and kind of sit on it and go, well, I don't know. Then it was an idea. We need to
It
get
was an
back.
idea. It
we
wasn't
need
a
to
bad
get
idea.
back at Katrina.
Yeah, I don't think you had a bad idea. We don't have the logistics to pull it off.
Well,
But we can work towards getting the logistics to pull it off if we do want to do that.
or we've made inroads at this point with Victor's Allied Command. We can make inroads with them. I mean, frankly, as mercenaries, we're tactical assets. We're not strategic assets.
Exactly.
So if we're going to be approaching this from a level of strategy, then we need a legitimate power to make the big moves so that we fight the battles.
I think we should do that. And I think we should reduce the amount of power on this planet as much as possible by taking that Union ship. That would give us a lot of leverage and a lot of presence if we go to a military power and say, hey, we've got some ideas.
And it also provides us with as close to a proper base of operations as we can get without foundations in the ground.
Willow will look over at Yini and say, how long is that going to last? Do we have enough time to actually repair all of our mechs that need to repaired?
The Union ship is supposed to arrive within a week. She looks around the room, kind of thinks, I think that's enough time to get everything repaired, at least your mechs. We should be back up and running. Yeah, I think it would work. And then Esme pipes in again, and she says, we did just do a job for Ian. Maybe we can get him to hire us again? Because if we just attack the dropship, that's borderline piracy. But if we attack the dropship at the request of Ian, it's an official job.
Would it be borderline piracy, Esme? We're essentially at this point, until our employer comes for the goods, this is a garrison deal. If an enemy asset comes into a garrison's area of operations, we should be well within our right to engage it.
You see her pull up her data pad and start looking at, you can see she's quickly reading laws and stipulations and gray areas.
Jacob will just quickly, say he's right. This is your area of operations. Anything that falls under it is your responsibility, and therefore, they're an enemy target. You have every single right under the MRB to take it out and claim it.
Esme is late to the party, but she says, yeah, he's right.
Well, I appreciate that we would be within our rights to just attack it. I also like the idea of getting paid to attack it, so Esme, do the thing.
And Esme is going to turn to Yini, and she says, let's reach out to Ian. Let's see what he says. And they say, yeah, we'll get back to you. We're going to send a communique right now. We should hear within the next 24 hours. And, we're both within our rights by garrison rules to defend the garrison, but also if we have the additional endorsement of Ian to officially take this dropship, I don't see why you'd say no.
Well, also, because garrisoning this base wasn't, well, at least for this amount of time, wasn't stipulated in our original contract, he probably owes us some money anyway.
This is actually a good idea, says Yini. Well, Sergeant Major pipes in finally. Seems like we have ourselves a plan then.
Yeah. Cyprian, sucks that you're still under the weather because we need more hands fixing mechs. So, Callum, sucks to suck, but I think we're gonna have to be Dina's apprentices for a week.
Yeah. I think you're probably
Jacob,
right.
how are you? You do any mech repair?
I can rewire medium laser. That's
Great.
about it.
That's more than us.
Yeah.
Have you met Dina yet?
And I think at the mention of have you met Dina yet, I think that is a great moment to pan out from the meeting room as Jacob just goes to respond. And we zoom out, and we actually zoom out. We see the exterior of the base. We see the planet itself. And then as we zoom towards the star of this system, we see a Union-class dropship with Katrina Steiner's colors on it, burning its way towards Katargo. And I think that will be our last scene for today's session, as I think we have a plan. I think next session we're gonna try to take a Union-class dropship. So that will be a thing. But great job, everybody. Hope you all had fun. I know it was a pretty RP heavy thing, but I think we got a lot done. I think we got a lot done. We did introduce a new character, Jacob, who brings a little bit more expertise, a little bit more experience to the group. And although he is just a private, I think his opinion should be listened to and should be respected as well. And so Lawrence is going to become an NPC under my leadership, as it were. Super excited. And I think Lawrence is probably going to take on more of a training role for new recruits that you guys start to bring in as the company starts to grow. But as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap up today's episode?
Yeah, I've got one.
Please.
Yeah. This whole thing has been a ton of fun, and I'm really glad that you started it and have gotten all these players together. It's been an absolute blast, and I hope
you.
it continues.
Agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I didn't know what to expect when we started this, and I gotta tell you, I am just pleased as punch at the commitment. You know, what you don't see, viewers, is we have a Discord channel dedicated to Salvaged Destiny, and these folks will just talk and discuss and pontificate about what we should do and where we're going to go, and they do some RP here and there, and they discuss what they're going to do next session. So there is just so much commitment, and I want to thank you guys, if I may, for your level of engagement. This would not be as enjoyable if you guys weren't as invested into your characters and the story as you are. So it's a group effort, and you're welcome, Strom, but thank you guys as well, because I am absolutely loving it. And I do want to give a shout out to Just Geo42. This gentleman has gone through and rewatched all of our episodes over the last week and has been engaging with us constantly. And so I just want to say thank you to him. I also want to give a quick shout out to Aaron here. Next weekend, we will actually not be running session 16. We're going to be doing a GM discussion of Mechwarrior Destiny, the system, as well as how to integrate the system into Roll20 and Tabletop Simulator. So Callum or Aaron runs a Mechwarrior Destiny game that we've been playing for 30 plus sessions over a year.
Over a year, yeah.
Yeah, we've been playing the Red Corsairs, actually, what I referenced here. But we're going to be discussing just the system, some of the custom content that Aaron and others that are playing together have come up with to kind of make the system better, at least for our experiences. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about the Tabletop Simulator, Roll20, macros, things like that. And so we're just going to discuss the system for any that are interested in maybe playing themselves. I'm also going to have a link to some macros that I use, as well as some assets. So if anyone is interested in just getting a kind of behind the scenes look at how the system works and how we run it, I'd love to see you guys here. Same game time, same game place next weekend. But again, any other final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're not going to be playing because of me, not because of anyone else. So if you're going to get mad at someone, get mad
Be
at
mad
me.
at Willow, which
And
everyone often
also,
is.
I'm going to be busy every other Saturday for a month. So sucks to suck, viewers.
Oh, it's all right. I'm gonna have some content. We'll have some content to fill in during those slots, so no worries. But definitely keep an eye out for the schedule. Definitely look forward to next weekend. We're gonna be running that GM discussion of the system. Thank you, Aaron, for agreeing to do that. I think there'll be a blast.
Yeah.
And as I always say at the end of every session, thank you to the players for playing. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. Happy gaming, everyone. We will catch you next time for session 16 of Mechwarrior Destiny, and next week for that GM discussion of Mechwarrior Destiny. Good night, everybody.